recently I realized that you can change your past. And a lot of people say you can change your future, but you cannot change your past. So focus on your future. But I actually realized that you can change your past. And for me to explain it, we have to redefine the past. What is it? How do people define it? So what is past? And how do you change it? For some people, past is an event that happened in their life. For some people, past is maybe something they did, or maybe even someone who they were at one point in their life. And there's many definitions of past. And because people say you cannot go back into the past, you can't do anything about it. You just have to move on. But I have realized that you can go back into the past, because we carry our whole life as memories. So every time we go back into the past, we go back into our memories. And nobody wants to have bad memories. But how can we go back into the memories or into the past and change them? So I'm going to explain. When I lost my thought, let me look it up on my little paper. I write down my thoughts all the time. So the most accurate definition for the past that I have found, and that is my new definition, I use it all the time. My past is how I think about it. That is what my past is. It's not how other people think about me, or it's not how other people think about my past. My past is how I think about it. So can I go back into my thinking? Can I go back into the past or into the memories? And can I change it? And the answer is yes. Because every time I think about my past, or like an event that happened, something unpleasant happened in my life. For example, I made a bad decision, right? Like, actually, no, I'm going to share a real example. So this one time, I took a water hose, a garden hose, and I started spraying on the concrete little sidewalk. The rocks were loosened, the concrete was loosened, and I was spraying it with a jet stream nozzle, and I made a pretty big hole. That's the lake that I'm going to. I made a pretty big hole in the concrete sidewalk. And I was small. I was pretty young. I was like 7 years old. And I told my siblings, our neighbor's going to be walking through the spot at night. He's going to trip and fall. And I wanted him to trip and fall. I didn't like our neighbor when I was 7 years old. So, and one time I was riding my scooter on the sidewalk, and the front wheel of the scooter hit that hole that I made for my neighbor. And the scooter flipped, and I flipped, and I hit my nose on the concrete, and it started bleeding. And it was very bad. I was very mad at 7 years old, as well as upset. And that was a very bad memory. My past as a negative experience. And that's an event that happened to me, as an example. But now, 21 years later, I look at that event and I laugh, because it's just funny. It's not a bad experience anymore. So when you change how you think about something in your life, especially when you change how you think about your past, an event or something you did, or something that somebody did to you, or the person that you were at one point, that is you changing your past, because your past is our memories. Our past is our memories, and we carry it everywhere. So over 21 years, my thinking changed on that day, to that day. And from a horrible experience with the nosebleed, now it's a funny moment that we remember with my siblings sometimes, and we laugh at it. So my past changed. It went from a negative experience to a positive, because now we laugh at it. But that is how you can go back. You can literally go back to every negative experience or negative memory and reconnect that negative day or an event or something that happened to you, reconnect it in a positive way, in a real way, reconnect it to who you are today. For example, if I grew up in a poor family, then that is my past. But because I grew up in a poor family, I am always striving to become financially independent and financially free. Always working on things, brainstorming, working on my business. So I cannot say that that is my past as a bad experience, because now I think about it and I see it as a good experience and as a good event or as a good life, because it formed me and it changed me into who I am today. That is my way of thinking now. I can literally go back to every single memory in my mind that has a negative experience or a negative feeling attached to it, and I can restructure it and tell myself that what happened or who I was or what somebody did to me actually helped me become who I am today. Yeah, you cannot go back, and you cannot literally go back into the past to change a certain day or a certain event that happened to you. You cannot change the event, but you can change your memory of that event into a positive one, into one that will benefit you, continually benefit you in your life. And that is how you can change your past, how you can restructure it, because our past is our memories, and we can go back and restructure every single memory into a bad one. I mean, from a bad one to a good one. My bad. And another thing is, more important thing is, how does God define our past? God is God, and we are not gods. God is different. We cannot try to compare ourselves to God and tell people that we are like God. We're not like God, because we are human beings, and we're very limited in what we can do or who we are, how we are created. But God says that when you repent and I forgive you, He says, then I forget. I forgive, and then I forget. I forget what you did. I forget all the bad sins. I mean, all the sins, not just the bad ones. They're all bad. I forget who you were, and I make you new. I make you whole. I make you complete. I make you a new creation. I give you a new life, and I give you a new identity as my son or my daughter. That is what God says. So if God is so, how do I say it? His way of thinking about our past is not defining us by our past. How's it going? I'm recording a video. You'll see it on YouTube. Have a good one. So if God is, He pretty much deleted our past to have no memory of it. Imagine if you can delete all the negative experiences and negative events that happened to you in your life, and only have the positive ones. And the things that you can go back and you can delete and you can restructure. You can edit. You can edit those events, those things you did, those those bad things that happened to you, or maybe the person that you were. You can edit them and compare it to how those decisions helped you become who you are today and appreciate things in a new way. So I just want to finish off by saying, stay encouraged. Try to sit down and maybe take like 2 or 3 most worst things that ever happened to you and restructure them, or at least see how did those things, how did those events, how did they push you into a different direction that made a positive effect in your life, had a positive effect or a positive change in your life. And you then, every time you go back, after you restructure, every time you go back, you will immediately remember, oh, dang it, I'm not that person anymore. But because that thing happened to me, this is how I look at the world. This is how I look at other people. Because I did that, or because I made a mistake, I can tell other people, hey, don't do this. Don't go there. Or don't be with that person. And you can restructure your past, your negative past, into a positive past.